When I say EDC pliers or even a multi-tool, your mind probably goes to something like this. This is ROCKTOL GEN-R, and it's pretty great, but it's not the only option. There are mini pliers like these. This is the Knipex Cobra XS, and it's pretty easy to carry and allows you to build some pretty cool tool sets. So in this video I'll go through some of the options and we'll explore some of the benefits and some of the cons. So first off, as you saw, the Knipex is brand new. I just unpacked it. It's one of the most popular options, so that's why I got it. But it's not the first tool of its kind I've carried. Up to now, I've been carrying this adjustable wrench. This is an older one. I actually got it at a thrift store for 50 cents. But it's made in Sweden by Bachko, so it's pretty awesome. But the range, obviously, as you can see, is quite a bit less. So this should be an improvement, or maybe to carry them together, as they both are quite light. The Knipex actually weighs only 60 grams, which is quite light, and my old Bachko weighs 53, so it's even less. Which also brings up the first reason to pick this one over this one, as the weight difference is quite a lot. This multi-tool actually weighs 277 grams, so quite a difference, but obviously has a lot of tools. It's not just pliers, but when you think of combining them with a tool like this, which is the ROCKTOL GEN-R Lite, which also has a knife, along with a screwdriver and scissors and a lot of other tools. Let's put them together, let's see how much they weigh, and it's about 186 grams, so it's about 100 grams lighter, and you get separate pliers and the knife with some other tools, which are not far apart from this one. This slightly less tools, but if you combine them right, get the right ones you need, it's a pretty valid option. And in this case, even if you combine both the wrench and the pliers with the ROCKTOL GEN-R Lite, it's still 240 grams, which is still 34 grams less than this one. So it's quite a difference. But it's not also the only option. There are a ton of them. Let's say you want a bigger knife, like this one, which is the Victorinox Hunter XT with a locking blade. This one weighs 150 grams, and let's add the Knipex, which gives a total of 210 grams. So it's still quite a lot less, but you get not only a knife, but also a considerably bigger one, which is pretty awesome. And when it comes to the price, it's actually also pretty similar. For instance, if you pick the ROCKTOL GEN-R Lite, it's about 20-30 bucks, I believe. Well, this ROCKTOL GEN-R costs about 50. These are the prices of both them come with VG10 blades, which is a pretty good blade. And it gives a difference of about 20-30 bucks, which is precisely the price of these Knipex pliers. So it's basically the same price. Either you choose this set or this one, which is pretty awesome, I'd say. But it's also not the only option. As you can see, I have a lot of them. Let's say, for instance, you want to fully customize your set. You can pick a tool like the Roxon Place Companion, which is fully customizable. You can swap out the tools as you like. As you can see, it's pretty easy. Pick out some different ones. Have a couple of them there. And let's weigh it with the tools it was before. On its own, it weighs 124 grams. And let's add the Knipex pliers. Now we have 185 grams, so it's a lot lighter. And you can fully customize it, carry what you want, and it's pretty awesome. And of course, if you don't need any extra tools at all, you can always pick only a knife and pair it together with the pliers. let's weigh this set together, and it's about 174 grams. Let's try a different knife, like the CIVIVI Vision FG, which is a pretty awesome knife. Has a really nice reverse tanto style nitro V steel blade, and together, paired with the Knipex Pliers, it weighs 183 grams. So if you only need the knife plus the pliers, you don't need extra tools, it's a pretty valid option. As the blade will obviously be better on this one than on a multi-tool, as something that works for everything doesn't work for anything the best, I would say. ROCKTOL does have very awesome blades on their multi-tools, but they still don't really compare to an actual knife that's designed only for that function. So yeah, there are a ton of options to put together. So let's say you want to go even lighter. Let's pair together the Victorinox Spartan and the Knipex Pliers. Let's see how much they weigh, and it's about 120 grams, which is quite light. Some knives on their own weigh a lot more, so yeah, it's a pretty valid option. But let's compare it to also other multi-tools. Like this one, which is the Nextorch MT20, which is pretty awesome. It's a pretty awesome multi-tool, works quite nice, I tested it before. It has both large shears and pliers, which is a pretty awesome set. They both work quite nice. Let's put this together and let's weigh it. And this one also weighs about 275 grams. So these two are actually very close together. A difference of only 2 grams. So it's pretty much a standard. But if we want a slightly lighter tool, let's take for example the Leatherman Rev. Let's put this on the scale, and it's 167 grams. So it's about 100 grams lighter than the ROCKTOL, which is quite a difference. But still, if we compare this set together, this was 186, so it's about 20 grams more than the Leatherman Rev. Now, the next point, the comfort. Obviously, these multi-tools are pretty nice. They work for everything, pretty much. But when you compare the comfort of pliers like this, squeezing them, these parts tend to push in your hand. It can hurt a bit when squeezing them, and there's also the give on the handle. But if you take a tool like this that's designed only for this task, when squeezing them, they feel quite a bit, let's say, better. As the handle is obviously designed only for this task, it also has this grippy texture on it to add some extra grip. But with that said, it's also shorter, so you need to grip it like this. As you can see, it doesn't even go through my entire hand. So hard to say which one is more comfortable. They both are quite different. And let's compare the max grip on both of these. You can see the Knipex can open up also quite a bit further. So it's a pretty big difference, I would say. And there are also these options like the adjustable wrench I showed before. There are some modern alternatives to it. Not sure if Bahco still sells these. It's pretty awesome. I saw some on eBay for 40 to 50 bucks. I don't know how realistic is it, but it's a pretty awesome wrench. And I got it for 50 cents, so can't complain. But with that said, it is a bit easier to adjust your setup that you carry with separate tools, as with this one, pretty much you always have the same tools. You either need to buy a separate one or not carry it at all. You don't want it. But with this, let's say today you want to carry them together, but tomorrow you need only the pliers, so you take only them. But the next day you don't need the pliers, so you take only the knife with a multi-tool. or even just a knife, or them together, or this set, or even you managed to find a Soviet multitool knife on the street or in the market, and you decided to carry it together with your pliers, which also is a pretty valid set, depending on what you need it for. As you can see, this is pretty cool, as it allows you to combine them as you want. Pick out tools for any combination you want, like the Victorinox Soldier 08, which, fun fact, is the actual real Swiss Army knife, which is currently used by the Swiss Army, so it's pretty cool. But now let's compare how they fit in your pants. Let's take, for instance, the Nextorch Pioneer MT20. Let's see how it fits. As you can see, it fits in your pocket pretty well, but almost takes up all of it. Still, there is some space, but not too much. If you take a more compact option like the Leatherman Rev, let's put it in, and there is a lot more space on the side. But if you take the Knipex Pliers, they actually fit in the small pocket, so that's pretty nice. And if you choose, for instance, a small tool like the Victorinox Spartan, it can actually fit in the small pocket side by side with the Knipex Pliers, which is pretty nice. But for instance, if you take the ROCKTOL GEN-R Lite, this is a pretty rough fit, but you can toss it in this pocket. So it's a pretty different fit depending on what you choose, but separate tools are a bit easier to manage. All of them do obviously have different tool sets, so it's pretty hard to pick one. They all have different tools, but I want more lean on the pliers themselves. As the tools, obviously everyone has their preference of the tool set they want. Either they want a screwdriver, scissors, a knife, or whatever. But in general, pliers are a pretty, I'd say, popular option, with the only more popular one being a knife, which is pretty much the golden standard. I'm pretty sure everyone should have at least a small knife on them to open a package or whatever. But pliers are also quite useful. If you need them, you need them. So yeah, overall, these are some of the options. There are obviously a lot more. So let me know, which one would you pick? Would you pick a multi-tool with pliers inside, or a separate plier set with a multi-tool knife, or a separate knife, or whatever? What's your set? Let me know in the comments. We'll leave the links for some of them in the description. So if you want to pick one up, check it out. If you like this video, leave a like, subscribe, and see you next one. Bye.